Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fleming Film Awards podcast with me, Robbie Fleming. As always, Cody is on, and today we're doing our first ever double feature. Hello, Cody.
Hey Robbie, how are you? And thanks for having me back on. Sorry it took so long to get to this one of the films we're talking, but we made a list of 31 movies to watch, and Silence of the Lambs was how we closed out Halloween this year, so it got near the end.
Brilliant, brilliant. I managed to watch these two. Silence of the Lambs in September, and October was The Exorcist. Those are the two films we're talking about today. And because it's the most recent one I saw and it's the oldest film that we're talking about, I thought we'll talk about The Exorcist first.
All right. I mean, it's the opposite for me. I watched that in September, but that's fine. Let's do it.
Yes, let's do it. So, just to run background, at the 1973 Fleming Awards, The Exorcist took home Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Score, Best Production Design, Best Cast, and Best Sound. It sadly didn't win Best Picture. That went to Terrence Malick's Badlands, which I think is a slightly better movie. I don't want to ruin it for you, Cody, so I know you've not yet to watch Badlands, but I think you'll love it.
I mean, it's an inspiration apparently to one of my all-time favorite movies, so I guess I should check it out at some point.
Definitely. So let's talk about Best Adapted Screenplay first, because William Peter Blatty is a special writer because he didn't just write the screenplay for this movie, he also wrote the original book.
Which I've read.
Is there any differences?
It's pretty close. I mean, it's been about 20 years since I read the book, but it's fairly close from the book to the screen to from the page to screen. It's loosely based off a true story that happened in, I believe, St. Louis in the 40s, but that involved a little boy instead of a little girl.
Right. Okay, and for those who don't know, The Exorcist tells the story of a young girl who gets possessed by a demon, and now her mother attempts to rescue her through an exorcism. And people say this is one of the scariest films of all time, and I don't think it's that scary. Do you think it's scary?
Oh, well, I was raised Catholic, so this movie is frigging terrifying to me. Yes. This is a scary movie, not only if we talk about the possibilities of evil and demons and the devil, but just something or someone being in control of your body and you're not able to control the actions that are happening in your body is terrifying.
Yeah, would you say Venom's terrifying?
No, and in fact, every movie since The Exorcist, with the exception of The Omen, which is a little bit different because that's about the Antichrist, but every movie since then kind of isn't, because it's like you already perfected this story, and then there doesn't need to be any more of this. You did it. It's The Exorcist. It's amazing.
Yes. And I've heard that this film has a bunch of sequels, including one that came out recently, and none of them have achieved the same acclaim as this movie.
I will say that The Exorcist 3, which is written and directed by William Peter Blatty, is actually really good.
Okay.
I have not seen The Exorcist 2. I have not seen the new Exorcist, which I haven't heard great things. And I haven't seen the Paul Schrader cut of the prequel. I've seen the Rennie Harlan version, and it's whatever. But I hear the Paul Schrader cut is actually pretty decent. And that's about Father Marin, Max von Sydow's character.
Yes.
Who at
We'll get to
who
in a
at,
minute.
who at this time was not even 50 years old when he's playing this character, and they make him look like he's like 70 or 80.
Yeah, definitely. When you see him in Rogue One, he looks the same age, and even when you see him as the three-eyed raven in Game of Thrones, he still feels like the same age. He's like the Swedish Sam Elliott.
I just always assumed he was an old man like Wilford Brimley or some of those character actors. I didn't know because I hadn't seen any of the Bergman movies yet, like that he was a young man and that he was younger than what he's playing in this movie.
Yes, definitely. So he won Best Supporting Actor.
Makes sense.
I'm surprised he wasn't nominated for the Oscars because I think he delivers one of the best performances of the movie.
I mean, it's some of the most memorable parts of the movie too, right? Like, I always forget that the movie has this extended prologue with him in it, right? And if you've never seen the movie before, you're probably like, what is going on? Why are we following this old man? And then it comes full circle near the end. But I mean, that's like some of the most iconic stuff is all the stuff he's in.
Yeah. 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 Do you think this is his best performance?
Oh my God, that would be hard to say this is Max von Sydow's best performance. I mean, the man was a legend, especially at playing once, he became like this reliable actor that would pop up in movies, especially here in America. He was like one of the all-time great villains, and that's not even to mention all the Swedish films he did with Ingmar Bergman earlier in his career. I don't know. This is probably it's definitely up there. It's definitely one of his most iconic performances, but I don't know if I can say it's his best. I mean,
I've
the
always
man was
wanted to see Wild Strawberries.
is that I don't think that's no, that's not I've only seen two Bergman films and that's not the one I've seen.
I've seen 3. The Seventh Seal, Cries
I
and Whispers, which I believe he is in, and so got got Isabella Rossellini's mum.
Oh, also Ingrid Bergman.
Yes, yes, Autumn Sonata, I think it's called.
I've seen Seventh Seal and The Virgin Spring, which is what Wes Craven's Last House on the Left is loosely a remake of, which also does have Max von Sydow playing the father in
Nice.
that. So at the Academy Awards, they nominated Jason Miller instead, which makes sense because it's a bigger role and he has a lot more to do in the movie as the pre-psychologist that first tries to help Reagan and her mom.
Yeah. No, he was good, Jason Miller, no doubt about it. He was really good.
And it also won the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Which it should have done. Which it should have done. And it also won Best Sound.
Absolutely a deserving
Award, yeah.
Yeah. This movie was a huge hit when it came out, even though I think it sprung the whole satanic panic that went throughout our culture here in America through the 80s.
Yes. Yes. It was made on 12 million, but made 441.3 million.
Yeah, and I believe it was released around Christmas time too, so that's insane. And it was nominated for Best Picture.
Yes, the first ever horror film to be nominated.
And this is back when they only had 5 nominees. That's wild.
That is very wild. That is very wild. Before we dive into the awards, do you think William Friedkin is a good director?
William Friedkin was a great director. Now, he doesn't have the track record that a lot of his predecessors and but he's kind of in a weird age range. He was a little bit older than a lot of the baby boomer guys that we consider some of the great directors, but he's younger than some of the old Hollywood. But I mean, he directed two all-time classics, this and The French Connection. He has a lot of other really good movies, like To Live and Die in LA is a great little crime thriller from the 80s, which has a great performance by young Willem Dafoe. I mean, I think he was a great director. I don't think every one of his movies was great, but I think he was a great director and a champion.
Was okay.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people really love Sorcerer. I've not seen that or the original film it's based off of, Wages of Fear.
Okay. I'll have to check that one out.
He actually has a movie out right now. It was his final film, which is like a courtroom drama.
Ooh, sounds interesting. Interesting.
I should watch it because I can stream it right now. It's called The Kane Mutiny Court Martial. But some of his movies are fun. Like, I enjoy The Hunted, even though it's basically The Fugitive, but in the mountains. And Killer Joe's got a crazy McConaughey performance.
Oh, Thomas Hayden Church is in it.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of reclamation of the movie Cruising, which has similar themes to the other movie we'll be discussing today. So, yeah, I think overall Friedkin was a great director. If nothing else, he directed The French Connection and The Exorcist. That alone should put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, definitely. Let's talk about the other actor, Linda Blair.
Wow. I mean, what a performance from such a young actor at the time. I mean, it's sad that she's kind of never outlived this film and this role. I know she's done a lot of work, mostly in the horror genre, but still one of the best child performances ever, right?
Definitely. Not in my top 5 that I previously did with Justin, but definitely one that stands out for the test of time.
Absolutely.
One that's made a career. If you know who Linda Blair is, you think The Exorcist straight away. You probably only hear the word Exorcist when you hear the name Linda Blair.
Yeah, and if that's the only detriment to this performance is that it's so iconic and such a legendary film and role that I don't think she's ever gotten under the shadow of this. And I think to a certain degree, Haley Joel Osment a little bit too, but I think he's bounced off The Sixth Sense better than she has from this.
Definitely. And there is not really a leading man in this film.
No, and I mean, that's something that's really common in this genre, isn't it? That it tends to be female leads most of the time.
Well, it shows that and this is what I've been thinking whilst doing the Halloween Pumpkin Awards. Horror is the most diverse genre because anybody can be a horror character.
It also, with sci-fi, is one of the most political and social genres because they're able to bring up social commentary that other films would seem more preachy in because they're disguising it in a horror film. Because, yeah, this movie's about demon possession, but you could also talk about how this movie could be a theme for puberty and, divorce and single parent religion, well, of course, religion, because it's about demon possession and that, but single parent having to raise child, like there's a lot of things going on in this movie. And you could even talk about from a psychological standpoint that maybe the reason Reagan is open to the possession of what we find out as the devil is maybe because of she's not dealing with the divorce that well.
Yeah.
There's like even a sequence early in the movie when Ellen Burstyn's character is trying to get a hold of her husband over the phone because it's Reagan's birthday and they can't get a hold of him, and she makes a comment about him not even being able to answer the phone and talk to his daughter on her birthday or something.
Yeah, I get that. I do like Ellen Burstyn in this film. This is probably my second favourite performance of hers, with number one being Raccoon for a Dream. What a performance.
I mean, she's nominated for an Oscar for both of those performances. I mean, Ellen Burstyn is one of the greatest actresses of her generation. I mean, pure and simple.
Definitely. But I gave Best Actress to Sissy Spacek, one of the greatest actresses of all time.
Well, I would think Ellen Burstyn's right up there with her, but yeah, for sure.
Yes. Do you want to know who won my Best Actor award?
In 1973, who was it?
Edward Woodward for The Wicker Man.
It's another one I need to watch. I've never seen that version.
Add it to your spooky season list for 2024.
I know it's a classic. I've sadly only seen the Nicolas Cage version.
You'll feel more sorry for Edward Wood.
Will I? Because what I hear, he's kind of a dick in the movie.
Well, he was. I don't know. I can just picture with Nick Cage just being an idiot.
Well,
I've seen clips and he just looks like he's just being weird throughout the whole movie.
which is Nicolas Cage's thing, but it's a very misogynistic movie because in the remake, it's all women on the island. Whereas I think the original's more of like paganism versus Christianity, right?
That's practically the base of the movie.
Yeah, which is interesting that comes out the same year as this movie, which is also dealing with religion and so
Yes.
and then now they're both considered classics in the horror genre.
They deserve to be classics in the horror genre. Let's talk about the production design, or as it was called back in 1973, art direction.
It's amazing. I love just the mood and the atmosphere once Reagan becomes possessed, and that room is like just alluring darkness you don't want to go in, and just how cold it is when you see people's breath when they go in that room and stuff. It's just so eerie and so well done. I mean, why can't I know part of horror's charm is that people get to make horror movies on a budget, and sometimes they do really great things with what little money they have, but this shows you what like a top-notch grade A Hollywood movie with a really good budget can do.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you could tell, like, going forward, that with Halloween, John Carpenter didn't have enough money, but made it as scary as it could be.
Yeah, and honestly, I rewatched it last week because it's one of the ones I usually watch every year for spooky season.
Nice.
And it really surprises me that all the movies that copied Halloween and even the Halloween sequels, that they kind of get away from the mood and atmosphere of what made that film scary. And also that Michael Myers was a little more inventive and creative and a bit of a trickster. He wasn't just a slow moving killing machine that he became in the sequels.
Definitely. Another thing I wanted to say is a film critic I love, Mark Commode. He's a British film critic. He has his own podcast. He does work for the BBC. This is his favorite movie ever. He talks about this a lot, like when he does videos and obviously podcasts and stuff, and his work. And he says that he met William Peter Blatty, and they went and they visited the house that it was where it was shot, and the family asked William Blatty to take a picture of them at the house, and he didn't know who he was.
Well, I mean, if you didn't know like the in-depths of this movie and his work, because he was mostly a novelist, you wouldn't know what he looked like, you know? And this is probably my favorite horror film. If it's not my very favorite, it's up there. It would probably be in my top 5 at least.
Yes, and sticking with the visuals, that best cinematography win.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a great looking picture. Again, when you get a movie, you can make horror movies look as good as any other movie if you get the right talent and you give them a budget to play with, because this movie looks great. It's kind of crazy that in the 70s we got this high production value of a movie about demon possession from Warner Brothers.
Yes.
And it seems like we can't get that many grade A horror films anymore. We do occasionally, but this is a prime example of it. And Stanley Kubrick's Shining is probably the other one. But
do you think Owen Rosman, who sadly died this year in January, well, a lot of people in this film have died recently.
As I was saying, because Freakin' just died, what, in September?
September, and Blatty only died in 2017.
Oh, Freakin' died in August of this year. Yeah.
But yeah, do you think he's a good cinematographer?
Well, I don't know all of his. Oh, wow. He shot The French Connection. He shot Network. He shot Tootsie. Yeah, guy's a great cinematographer.
Yes, and we all
Heartbreak Kid, 3 Days of the
3 Days of Condor. Have I seen that one? Not sure.
I don't know, but it's a pretty solid. Also has Max von Sydow, and it's a pretty solid 70s political thriller.
Sounds like it'd be my cup of tea. But yes, the most iconic shot is the one where he gets out the car.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's on a lot of the posters, right? You have him in the car, the fog, and then the house. Yeah, it's absolutely. And that the score, man.
Yes, the best. Yes, it won best score. The overall score is done by a guy called Jack Nitzer. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. But the most famous piece of music in the movie is Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his piece of music helps elevate the score. I think the rest of it's all original.
Yeah. Maybe the scariest stairs in cinema history, too, right?
Yes. Yes. Nice chilling score, one that sticks in your head, and very good use of Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see if Mike Oldfield has worked in any other movies. Oh, he did the score for The Killing Field.
I've never seen that, but that's cool.
Neither have I. I think those are the only 2 movies he's worked on. But yeah, I don't know much about the Jack guy.
Yeah, I don't know his work either.
And finally, there's only one more award to talk about, and that's Best Cast.
Yeah.
So another actor I like, who I didn't realise was in this film until the last time I watched it, was Lee J. Cobb.
Yeah, as the detective, what a really heartwarming, nice performance. And
when he's normally playing horrible people.
Yeah, because his second most popular role is what, 12 Angry Men?
Tom
As
Angry
the
Men, and he's also been on the waterfront.
Yes. Yeah, and so in the sequel, in Exorcist 3, the role is played by George C. Scott.
Ooh.
Another actor known for not always playing nice men.
Always giving brilliant performances.
But I really do like his performance in this, and he's really sweet and nice. Like, and I love the interactions between him and Jason Miller in this movie.
Yes. Yes. And
It's like a
sorry, you go
it's
first.
it's like a good contrast with how emotionally high and stressful and dramatic everything else is in the movie. Because not only do we have like Ellen Burstyn's character having to deal with like she's out of control, she doesn't know how to help her child. You know, the doctors don't know what to do. She's tried everything. She's at her wits' end. We get the whole drama with Jason Miller and his, his question of faith. Is he losing his faith? Does he think he's doing any good? All the stuff with his mom and her illness. And we get this character, and it's a little bit of brevity for us with what we're watching, just because even though he's investigating the death of the film director, because Ellen Burstyn's character is a movie actress in The Exorcist, and they're filming a movie in Georgetown. He's just a nice sense of brevity for us with all the drama going on in the movie.
Definitely. And there were actual real priests in this film as well.
So none of the actors playing priests are actually priests. They're all actors.
No, one's Father William O'Malley, who played Father Joseph Dyer, and one of them's Father Thomas Birmingham, and he's Father Tom Canova.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool that they got a couple of real priests to be in the movie.
And William Peter Blatty makes a cameo.
Yes, he does. As it's somebody while they're filming, isn't it?
It's from or Frommy.
Yeah, that's what he's uncredited as.
Yeah.
I think it's during the scenes where they're filming whatever movie within the movie they're doing, though.
Yeah. Nice. So, is there anything else you want to talk about The Exorcist now we've gone over the awards?
I think it's just a masterpiece of the horror genre. I think it's really a bone-chilling film, and it's a beautiful looking film with great performances, and I think that's why it's lasted for 50 years.
Definitely. And it's been I like watching this film not every couple of years. Wouldn't watch every Halloween or every day, but I think it is a good Halloween watch.
Okay, well, if you watch The Exorcist every day, you might be a freak. And if I'm judging, I'm sorry, but that's a little freaky. Are you okay? Are you okay if you're watching this movie every day? Because well, it's intense, and I don't think I could deal with it every day.
No, I can. Oh, this would have been a film if me and Justin were around doing this. We'd be arguing over this movie because this film didn't come out in the UK till March 14th, 1974.
Well, it didn't come out here till December 26, 1973, so that's probably why.
It's just a bit strange because there's obviously Pearl didn't come out for me this year until this year, so we'll count with my 2023 Fleming Awards. But I know Justin will be, you're not being fair. Justin, if it doesn't come out in my country to the next year, it'll count as a Fleming Awards if I miss it. Yeah, if you have a problem, Justin, don't moan at me, moan at the distributors.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. That is kind of weird now with as wide release as things are nowadays, that still happens with some of our films for you.
Yeah, so we're not getting Poor Things till January.
That's not very weird because that's just award season full out. I mean, at least it's January. It'd be different if you're like, we're not getting it till summer,
I
you
would
know?
be annoyed.
I'm not even sure though when it's wide here. Is it this
December.
month or next month?
December.
Oh, okay. Well, see, you just gotta wait a month. That's not that
There you
bad.
go. 8.1 out of 10. The Exorcist is on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 78% critic score and an 87% audience score.
Okay.
Right. I think that's it with The Exorcist. Great movie. Absolutely love it. I just prefer the other movie we're going to talk about. My Best Film winner of 1991 and my Halloween Pumpkins winner of 1991, The Silence of the Lambs.
Well, you matched with the Academy Awards that time. I don't know if I prefer one of these over the other because they're both, in my mind, masterpieces. I think Silence of the Lambs is a little more rewatchable, even though it's kind of freaky too. It's not exactly a feel-good time at the movies.
I get that, but neither's The Exorcist.
Oh, absolutely not. I was just trying to just say that it's weird that I find Silence of the Lambs rewatchable, even though it's probably as tough to watch as The Exorcist.
Yes. So the Fleming Awards I gave it. We'll just talk about the Fleming Awards today. We won't talk about the Halloween Pumpkins.
Okay.
On Best Film, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay,
Mm-hmm.
Best Score, Best Editing, and Best Cast.
Didn't get Best Director.
I gave it to John Singleton for Boys in the Hood.
Wow. I mean, that is an incredible debut film for sure.
Yes. I heard a lot of things about John Singleton whilst behind the scenes, and apparently he really knew his stuff when it came to directing, and apparently whenever they were like setting up shots, he'd try and get a minute to play on his Game Boy.
Well, interesting thing about John Singleton is that he was a PA on Pee-wee's Playhouse, and that's how he got Lawrence Fishburne to be in the movie.
Nice. He won Best Supporting Actor.
Awesome. I don't even... Is that the year Jack Palance won at the Oscars?
Yeah, I've not seen City Slickers, but I know Justin recommended it me.
It's a fun movie, but I like that you gave it to Lawrence Fishburne. That's a great performance.
Thank you. And Sissy won for JFK.
Okay. I love that movie a lot. That's probably my favorite Oliver Stone movie.
The reason why I didn't give it to the girl from The Fisher King is because it's more Jeff and Robin you kind of watch the film for, and they give the good performance. Mercedes was good, but she was just the girlfriend character.
Well, I mean, Sissy Spacek's just Kevin Costner's wife. She doesn't really have a lot to do in the movie. It's mostly Kevin Costner and all the other crazy shenanigans going on that they get involved in.
True, but Sissy did have some really good scenes.
Well, I mean, she's a great actress. She's going to have good scenes no matter what you give her. But I mean, she's basically doing the Emily Blunt thing in Oppenheimer, you know.
Yeah, and I think Emily Blunt will win my 2023 Fleming Award.
She might, because the worthy competitor, I think, is going to be in competition for lead.
Exactly. But let's talk about The Silence of Lambs, because Jodie Foster's performance is incredible, and they really give her a lot to do.
Yeah, it really is the Jodie Foster show as much as Anthony Hopkins steals the show as Hannibal Lecter. I mean, this is Jodie Foster's movie through and through. She carries it. And I love how the cinematographer and Jonathan Demme kind of put it in her point of view, and we reverse the male gaze onto the audience. So we're feeling everything Clarice is feeling in this movie when, like, Dr. Chilton is looking at her, or when she's in that elevator with all those men and they're so much taller than her. This really is the top-notch job of putting us in her perspective of this movie.
Yes, and they give her a female friend who's also an agent.
Yeah, who went on to be a great director herself. She directed Eve's Bayou and a lot of other movies.
And the Whitney Houston one.
That's her most recent one, yeah.
Yeah. Although I feel like if it was made today, them two would be a couple. Which isn't a bad thing. It just recently when I watched this, I was thinking I kind of get a lot of Clarice being gay vibes.
Are you saying that just from a modern perspective, or are you putting a little bit of Jodie Foster's personal self in there?
A bit of both. A bit of both. But, you know, Clarice doesn't need a love interest.
No, she doesn't. And that's part of what makes this movie so good, is that she gets to stand on her own as the protagonist of the story. Yeah. And gets to...
I mean, I don't mind them having a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or a wife. We've obviously talked about Fargo, and even though Marge is married, she's still a badass cop.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing if you can do something interesting with it and not just have them there to be like, okay, our character is heterosexual or queer or whatever, you know, they have to have a love interest. I like that this movie's like, no, Clarice is this strong, independent person who's smart and capable, and she's always got to prove herself because she's working in a field of what's predominantly run by men and outsmarting them and doing a better job than most of them are.
Yeah, definitely. Because even Scott Glenn's character kind of leaves her to it.
Yeah, which she's doing a solid job as Jack Crawford, which I guess, you know, every actor who has played Jack Crawford in this weird franchise, because I believe it's been a different actor in each movie that he's a character in. But he does a good job.
And in the series, it's Lawrence Fishburne.
Yep, Lawrence Fishburne plays Jack Crawford in the series. Dennis Farina played him in Manhunter, and Harvey Keitel played him in Red Dragon.
Nice. Sounds like some good actors have played that character, and I bet they've all had their own different take on him.
It is very different from each take. So, and I kind of think it's interesting that this is the only version that has glasses, that he wears glasses. And I don't think any of the other actors do that, which is kind of an interesting take because Scott Glenn is kind of considered one of these macho male actors, you know, and it kind of makes him a little more less macho. Not that he's not, but like because he's in charge of behavioral science in the FBI. Makes him a little more intellectual than most of the roles Scott Glenn is usually known for playing.
The role I know him from most is in the Daredevil series where he plays his mentor.
He plays Stick, yeah. Yeah, well, he's played a lot of similar roles like that, where he's playing some sort of masculine archetype.
He's good in Training Day as well.
Yeah, he's in that. I forgot. I think he's blind in that too, isn't he?
No, but he's a drug dealer.
Right.
Do you think Ted Talley did a good job with the screenplay?
He absolutely did, and this is another really fairly close adaptation to the novel. Which is interesting that Dino De Laurentiis, legendary schlocky producer, did not want to do this movie because Manhunter was such a financial flop at the time that he missed out on getting an Oscar because this movie was such a huge hit.
Are we just only assumed that Jonathan Demme's a better director than Michael Mann?
I don't know if he's a better director. He probably was a more chiller person to work with, from what I hear about Jonathan Demme, because everything I hear about Jonathan Demme is that he was an absolutely nice guy. He was a more versatile director though than Michael Mann. Michael Mann definitely has a distinctive style.
Yeah, which he shows in both Heat and Collateral.
Mm-hmm. But Michael Mann's a great director, and Manhunter rules. So I don't know. It's just kind of different styles. I think they're both great directors. They're just two different styles, if that makes sense.
Definitely. It does make complete sense. Yes. I think this is one of the best adapted screenplays of all time. You can't deny it.
Absolutely. Ted Talley did a great job. And this is another movie just like The Exorcist that they kind of did it. And there's very few movies that come as close as being as good as this movie is on this subject matter.
He also wrote Red Dragon.
He did write Red Dragon, which Red Dragon is closer to the book, but Manhunter is the better movie because Michael Mann is a better director than Brett Ratner.
Oh, anybody's a better director than Brett Ratner.
Besides him being a crappy human being, he was not that great of a director. He has some movies I like, but yeah.
We need the Rush Hours.
Yeah, I like the first two Rush Hours. I never saw Rush Hour 3. I'm trying to think what else he directed that's decent. I don't know. He is a mediocre director.
Yeah, he was. But let's go talk about that score because one of my favorite composers doing the score, and that's Howard Shore.
Yeah, so good. So chilling.
I'm surprised that never wins Best. Surprised it never got nominated for Best Score.
It didn't get nominated? Wow.
The nominees for Beauty and the Beast, Bugsy, The Fisher King, JFK, and The Prince of Tides.
Okay, well, I haven't seen The Prince of Tides. I can't believe Bugsy. Bugsy got way more Oscar nominations than it deserved.
It sounds like it's just a film Warren Beatty threw loads of money at and asked if he could be in it.
I mean, it is the movie where he met his wife, Annette Bening. It's fine, but compared to that year of movies,
it's nothing to do with Bugsy Malone.
God, it's been so long since I've seen it. Does it not? I thought he was Bugsy Malone.
No, he's Bugsy Siegel.
Bugsy Siegel. Yeah, I haven't seen Prince of Tides. I mean, Beauty and the Beast makes sense. Oh, well, it was a Ennio Morricone. That might be why I got nominated.
Yeah.
Just because JFK. Well, I like the score for JFK.
It's John Williams, so
yeah,
nominate him.
But you look at the movies from 1991, like Thelma and Louise should have been in Best Picture, or Boys in the Hood should have been in Best Picture. You know?
Yeah, they should both be in here.
Or even The Fisher King, because I really love The Fisher King too.
Well, a lot of people like The Fisher King.
But yeah, that's crazy. It didn't get in for best score.
Yes. And this is always the divisive thing about this movie. Anthony Hopkins has won the Oscar and my Fleming for Best Actor, but he's only in the film for 10 minutes.
Is it only 10? I thought it was like 17.
17, yeah, round the 10, 17 mark.
Yeah, but I mean, he's so captivating for when he's on screen. And it's part of what makes the character so charming, even though he's an absolute monster. He's a manipulative, deceiving.
I am just so glad that Silence of the Lambs is a fictional story and Hannibal Lecter is a fictional character.
Mm-hmm. But Anthony Hopkins sells it. I mean, and that's probably why, which is crazy because when he got the script, he thought it was for a children's story because of the title.
He didn't realize he was going to be playing. It sounds like he's a lot of things, Hannibal Lecter. He's a count and a doctor.
Yeah, if you get into the backstory of the other novels and the movies and the show, yeah, he comes, I forget what foreign country he's from, but he's a survivor from the Nazi Holocaust.
Lithuania. He's from Lithuania.
And yeah, before he was a psychiatrist, he was a medical surgeon, which I guess means why he's so good at killing people because he knows exactly where to cut. You know.
Have you seen Hannibal Rising?
I have never seen Hannibal Rising. From what I understand, it's not good.
And have you seen the series?
Yes, Hannibal the series rules. It's by Brian Fuller.
Yes.
And I think Hugh Dancy might be my favorite Will Graham. And I think Mads Mikkelsen is a worthy successor of playing Hannibal Lecter. He's not trying to be Anthony Hopkins, which makes it great. He's doing his own take on the character.
Isn't Mads a bit too good looking to be Hannibal Lecter? Anthony's got the right face and the right expressions. Whereas Mads, I know he plays a lot of villains in these American movies, but he has like charm and charisma.
That's part of Hannibal Lecter's thing is he is charming and charismatic, right? Because that's why people get suckered in, because the guy knows good food, he has good taste, he loves art, he loves music. I mean, that's part of the appeal. So yeah, okay, so they cast a more attractive person to play him in the TV show. It's fine. I mean, yeah, are you basing that just because Anthony Hopkins and Brian Cox played him before?
Well, Brian Cox can be charming.
So can Anthony Hopkins.
Exactly. You have to be I'm assuming the bloke from Hannibal Rising, obviously rest in peace, was charming.
Did the actor that played Hannibal in Hannibal Rising die?
Yeah, he died I think he died in like a skiing accident.
Oh, I did not know that.
He was in the Moon Knight series with Oscar Isaac. And after they filmed the scenes, he died.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yes. Do you think it deserved my Best Cast award?
Absolutely. I mean, because besides the iconic performances by Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster, Ted Levine is absolutely terrifying in this movie. And playing a mixture of Ted Bundy and Ed Gein. They're two of the real life serial killers that are inspiration for Buffalo Bill.
Did any of them dress up as women?
Neither one of them dressed up as a woman. So the Ted Bundy thing is how he gets Catherine by pretending to be crippled, right? That was a ploy Ted Bundy used, and then Ed Gein, of course, skinned skin off of dead people, which also Leatherface is a big inspiration from Ed Gein as well.
Sounds like the only It sounds like the only influencer dressed up as women is Jerry Brutus.
Ah, that was a real life serial killer?
Yeah.
No, but you're hitting something that did make the movie controversial at the time it came out, and is still a hot topic of discussion between the
Okay.
LGBTQ.
It's just I've seen this done in Psycho, and I recently watched Dress to Kill, which
Yep.
also had this. How come those two movies aren't as controversial as
They
this?
are, but the LGBTQ, especially the trans community, probably wasn't prominent or felt safe to talk about it like they were in the 90s and even more so today. So,
Huh.
but this was a trope that's been controversial, that's been problematic. And even though they go out of their way in the movie to say like this guy is not trans, and Jonathan Demme apologized and did a lot of things, but I think that's why Philadelphia was his next movie after that, because he didn't mean to upset anyone in the LGBTQ community, especially the trans community, even though this was a trope that had been happening in two other great films you mentioned where the killer does this sort of thing.
And I'm pretty sure it won't be the last film to do so.
It may not, but we don't see it as much as we did, do we?
Well, it's kind well, the whole trends of horror films has changed dramatically.
And interesting enough, I believe it's Lana Wachowski that was talking about how they did not feel comfortable watching this film and got sick and walked out in the middle of it. And that's part of why they made Bound, was they wanted positive, representation of themselves, even though at the time they probably weren't fully aware they were trans yet when they made that film.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just something that has to be discussed, even though I don't think Demi or anybody that made the movie was trying to say things about the trans community.
No. It's more understandable with Norman Bates because he's not actually trans. He's just a split personality.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with this and Dress to Kill, it does mention that they were trying to become women, and hence why they do what they do in this film.
Mm-hmm. But if anybody in the community, trans community, doesn't like this movie because of that, I understand.
No,
And
I understand. I understand. But this is what I'm going to say. I find it hard to hate and like a film purely because of its subject matter. I rather judge a film on a piece of art, not what it has to say.
I get what you're saying, and the opinions are valid. I was just saying if somebody feels that way, because you and I are both cis white males, so we don't have that situation or perspective. So I understand if someone from the trans community doesn't like this movie because of how it's represented or how it makes them feel. It's
No,
valid.
I completely understand. I completely understand that. I completely understand that. But like you said, Jonathan Demme and the cast and the crew just wanted to make a beautiful piece of art.
They wanted to make a great movie, which was off a very popular book. So I guess if we really want to look at somebody, maybe we should point the fingers at Thomas Harris, who wrote the novel.
Yeah, we'll go after that guy. But yeah,
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't even know if people were thinking about this stuff because, we're all guilty of, if it doesn't affect us, or it doesn't affect someone we love, sometimes unless someone brings it to our attention, a lot of times we don't know about these sort of things because we're not aware. And being aware is half the battle, and that's just something we all need to grow and become better at.
Definitely. Let's talk about Anthony Hold, who plays Dr. Chilton.
Oh man, this guy's so good at playing douchebags. He's like the perfect douchebag in this movie. He's creepy. He's cringy. Like when he's hitting on Clarice, it just makes your skin crawl. He's almost as gross as any of the serial killers in this movie, if not worse.
Yeah, definitely. And he's also plays him in Red Dragon, apparently.
Yep, he does make an appearance. He does reprise his role in Red Dragon.
Nice. We also have Brooke Smith, Diane Baker, and Cassie Lemons, who we spoke about.
Yes.
Frankie Fashion, good actor.
Who is in 3 of these movies? So he's Barney in this and in Hannibal, but he also has a part in Manhunter, but he plays a different character.
Nice. Another legendary character actor, Mr. Charles Napier.
Yes. Who Jonathan Demme used him a lot. Also, Tracy Walter, who's one of the he's one of the guys at the funeral home in West Virginia when they find the first body of Buffalo Bill's victim.
He's Bob in Batman.
Yep, Bob from Batman. Jonathan Demme used him a lot as well.
Nice.
In his movies.
Oh, this has legendary directors Roger Corman and George A. Romero.
Okay, I know who Roger Corman's playing, and the reason Roger Corman is in this movie is because a lot of Jonathan Demme's first films were these schlocky exploitation prison films Roger Corman produced. But where's George Romero in this movie?
He's a jailer.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I guess I had to watch it again to spot George Romero because I don't remember seeing him.
Not a film director, but a famous singer, Chris Isaac. Was a SWAT commander.
Yes. Jonathan Demme famously used a lot of musicians because he also shot a lot of concert films. Of course, his most famous one about the Talking Heads Stop Making Sense has been recently re-released into theaters. So yeah, Jonathan Demme was a big music lover and did a lot of stuff. He shot at Justin Timberlake. That was one of the last things he directed was a Justin Timberlake concert film.
Nice. You sure liked his music then?
Yeah. Jonathan Demme was a big fan of music and usually has interesting soundtracks in his movies.
Yes. So
this one famously doesn't really have a lot though. The only cut you get is American Girl from the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yes.
Oh, and that other song was it Goodbye Horses. Yeah.
Is that the one he dances to where he says, "Will you do me?"
Uh-huh. Yeah, which I think he also uses that song in his previous film, Married to the Mob, which that's who originally they were going to cast as Clarice was Michelle Pfeiffer.
I couldn't see Michelle Pfeiffer. I like Jodie because she looks normal. Michelle would be too pretty, and it felt unrealistic. Being really pretty.
Well, I wonder if Michelle Pfeiffer could have done the Southern accent. What I like about, and also Michelle Pfeiffer's taller, so I like Jodie Foster's size for this role, especially how they shoot the cameras and everything around her. It makes her even more so feel like she's in, in a man's world more so because she's not only is she a woman in a predominantly male-run field, but she's also substantially smaller than a lot of the other of her coworkers.
Definitely.
And it makes it even more powerful when she overcomes Buffalo Bill at the end.
Yes.
Outsmarts him.
Before we move on, you've watched Family Guy, haven't you?
Yes, I've seen episodes of Family Guy. I haven't watched an episode in probably over a decade, though.
Did you know that Seth Green based his Chris Griffin voice on Buffalo Bill?
Mm-mm. Okay, that's weird. I don't see the components.
What happened was Seth MacFarlane couldn't felt like everybody else at the audition was doing a normal teenager voice. Seth Green walks in, does this Buffalo Bill impression, and Seth MacFarlane says, "You've got the job."
All right then.
Yes. So, what do you think to Craig McKay's editing?
I think this movie is wonderfully edited. I think there's just some great shots and great transitions here.
Yes. So we also look at flashbacks into her life as well.
Right. We get flashbacks into Clarice's childhood with her dad because this is part of the how she gets Hannibal to cooperate with her is by sharing information about herself.
JFK beat it at the Oscars.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they went back and to the left.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to be funny.
But yes, I think this is a well edited movie.
Absolutely.
Especially the scene with the whole night vision.
Oh, the night vision stuff is great. I mean, the whole sequence where they're not sure if Hannibal Lecter's escaped or not is great. Like all that drama.
If anything, the editing keeps him in the film for longer. Did you always kind of suspense he's there even though he's not?
Right, you think he's escaping, but really he's been there the whole time because he used that guy's face.
Yes. Definitely. And let's just face it, no matter how good Terminator 2 is, no matter how good JFK is, no matter how good The Fisher King is, Silence of the Lambs is the best film of 1991.
It probably is, but God, does Terminator 2, Beauty and the Beast, Thelma and Louise, like, those are all like all-time greats for me.
Yes.
Like, those are all 5-star movies for me.
I'm assuming this one is. It's a 5-star for me.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd give JFK 5 stars. I don't know if I give The Fisher King 5 stars. I mean, Boys in the Hood's probably a 5-star movie too, honestly. I mean, like, this was a great year. And actually, it's a great year for strong female characters between this, Thelma and Louise, and Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, yeah, it's like an absolutely great year for female characters.
Yeah. And at Rotten Tomatoes, it's 95 both ways.
Audience and critics.
Yep.
There you go.
I thought from what you said about the LGBT community that the Rotten Tomatoes might have a lower audience score, but I guess the majority of people like this movie.
It was a very popular movie. It came out in February, was a huge hit, and then a year later wins Best Picture. And not only does it win Best Picture, it wins all 5 major categories, which only two other movies have done that.
Yes, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and It Happened One Night.
Yep.
Sounds like I need to watch It Happened One Night.
Well, if you want to know where the romantic comedy kind of really comes from, it's from that movie, and it's a banger.
I'm sure it is.
It's got great, fast-paced, witty dialogue.
Nice. So, out of these 2 movies, Cody, I'm going to go with Silence of the Lambs. Which one do you prefer of the 2?
Oh my God, you're like asking me which flavor of ice cream do I like better.
What flavor of ice cream do you like better?
It's ridiculous. These are both master classes of horror. The Exorcist is one of my all-time favorite horror films, but I will definitely watch Silence of the Lambs more than I will watch The Exorcist.
Is it because The Silence of the Lambs is more chilling, whereas The Exorcist is more in your face?
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Plus, I just love procedural investigative stuff. Like, that's my jam.
Same.
So that's probably the other reason why I would go with this one more so. But yeah, they're both 5-star movies for me.
Yes. I think Philadelphia is the only other Jonathan Demme film I've seen.
Really? You haven't seen you haven't seen the Manchurian Candidate remake?
I've seen half of it.
That's really good.
His last movie was Ricky and the Flash with Meryl Streep.
Yes, it was. That's okay. You haven't seen Rachel Getting Married? That's Anne Hathaway got nominated for that.
I'll have to give that one a go.
Married to the Mob is really good, and Something Wild is a lot of fun. I haven't seen any of his prior films up to that though.
He mainly does either comedies or dramas, so I guess Silence of the Lambs must have been a good refresher for him.
Yeah, he has a few exploitation films. Then he does some dramas. He did a spy thriller. He did a movie about Howard Hughes.
Melvin and Howard.
He did a I don't even know what says romantic drama is what Swing Shift. So that's where Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell met. Bu- 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 Beloved is not bad. I've never seen The Truth About Charlie, but it's a remake of Charade, but it's Mark Wahlberg, so I hear that's not very good. And yeah.
And he has one called The Master Builder with Wallace Shawn.
Uh-huh.
I'd say director-wise, I think I've seen more William Freakin films.
Okay.
So I've seen 4 of his, where I've only seen 2. But from what I've seen of both directors, they both seem fantastic directors. I'm not going to compare either of them two because they both seem like diverse directors. Sure, they're no Spielberg or Scorsese, but they're both great directors.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, you've seen 2 of Demi's best, and they were also both hugely popular movies and got his actors Oscars.
Isn't that what makes you a good director? How you get the best out your actors and the crew?
Absolutely. Of course, he got an Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, so there you go. And then he got other actors nominations. Like I think Mary Steenburgen got a nomination for Melvin and Howard, and Dean Stockwell got a nomination for Married to the Mob. And then of course Anne Hathaway got a nomination for Rachel Getting Married. So, he got a lot of his actors Oscar nominations.
Oh, Tom was the only actor nominated for Philadelphia.
Yeah, Tom Hanks is the only actor nominated. Anyone?
How did Denzel not get nominated, or Mary Steenburgen,
Maybe
or Antonio Banderas for that matter?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't know where to put Denzel because I guess it's co-lead.
True.
I don't know.
True, yeah, he is kind of co-lead. He shares. He's more than supporting. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I don't know. They nominated Lawrence Fishburne for What's Love Got to Do with It that year.
Which I still need to see.
That's a good movie. I mean, it's a music bio, but it's a good flick.
Yes. Definitely.
It's one of Angela Bassett's best roles.
That I can picture. I can picture she pulls off Tina Turner well. I'm not a massive Tina Turner fan, but I will watch it more for Angela.
Yeah, you don't like Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome?
I do. But I'm more of a Fury Road kind of guy.
Oh well, Fury Road is a masterpiece. And what, you don't like the GoldenEye song?
It's okay.
Oh, it's one of the best Bond themes in my opinion.
At least it's better than the Madonna one.
Yes. But almost every Bond theme's better than the Madonna one.
But it's not as good as the Chris Cornell one.
I prefer GoldenEye over Chris Cornell. I like Chris Cornell, but I like those ones more.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Right, before we get rambling on James Bond, I'm going to have to end things. Oops. Where have I gone? Here I am. Right, I'm going to have to end things today because it's getting quite late over here in the UK. But Cody, thank you for coming on talking about these two great horror movies. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think to these two masterpieces in the comments. Like and subscribe and let us know what other movies you want me and Cody talk about. I think the next film we should talk about is The Godfather, and I think we should bring Sean on because it's his favourite movie.
Ah, it's his favorite movie. Well, it is a movie a lot of people over here like to watch for our upcoming holiday that we have. So maybe because it's a long movie, I don't know. We'll get into it, but yeah, I'll be interested to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a while, and I think if I have time, I might, because it's streaming right now on Paramount Plus. I might give the new cut of The Godfather 3 a shot.
Ooh.
As as I
I don't hate the third movie, so I think it's fine the way it is.
Yeah, I don't hate Godfather 3 either. I mean, what did you expect? I mean, I guess you wanted it to be as good as 1 and 2, but it's not, but it's still not a bad movie.
No, and I get that Sophia Coppola takes more after her dad in directing than trying to become an actress.
Yeah, well, anyone who's rude to her, I mean, come on, are you guys Sophia Coppola? You're not. She was like 18 or 19 years old, and she only took the job because it was originally supposed to be Winona Ryder, and Winona Ryder had to back out of the film.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was more of a favor to her dad than her wanting to be in the movie. So
Yeah, definitely. But I'm assuming me, you, and Sean will have a good chat about The Godfather.
yeah, I look forward to it. It's absolutely one of the greatest films ever made.
Definitely. Right, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much for coming on, Cody.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try and have you back on as soon as possible.
Oh well, it's always fun being on. Sorry it took so long to get to Silence of the Lambs, but I love these movies. They're great.
They are
So
great movies. They are great movies. And the more people talk about them, the more people watch them. All right. See you later, Cody. Bye, everyone.
bye.
Bye.